If you have a mailbox on your door or on your street in front of your house, if you're not going to use a virtual mailbox address, at a bare minimum, go get a P.O. box or a UPS box store in your town and go rip that mailbox down.
Just rip it off the door.
Just rip it off the door.
Don't even give them an option.
Do not even give them an option to deliver mail to your house. Don't even make it a possibility.
And does Chase care if it's a virtual mailbox? Does the government care?
It's hard to say on that, obviously. I have several different addresses for virtual mailbox. I use all of them for various things. I've never had an issue. I work with several different banks, credit card companies. I've never had an issue. All of my addresses, every single one of my addresses are with a virtual mailbox address. So I've never had an issue with it.
Because they don't really know, right? It's different than a P.O. box, denoted that it's a P.O. box, and a lot of banks won't take those. But with the virtual mailbox, it's a real address.
It's a physical address. So, for example, it could be 123 Main Street, Suite ABC in Jacksonville, Florida, something like that. But yeah, it's a real street address. We can't make any guarantees on how you use the address because we're not in control of the third party you're using it with.
Yeah.
That's why I always have a caveat there. I can't really say, will it absolutely work? Because we don't know what that other third party requirements are.
But for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. I personally use all of them for various things, banks, credit cards, everything. No problem.
Makes sense, yep. And it also goes back to the whole liability thing. If you have a personal address, or even your if you were going to use your family's house as an address on certain things, you don't necessarily want their name or their address on certain things of yours, especially if it was like a business.
Sure, yeah.
You don't want to expose them.
This goes back to the privacy and anonymity issue. I do not recommend you ever, under any circumstance, on any document, on any piece of mail, under any circumstance, I do not recommend that you use your actual address where you live.
Right.
Not your house, not your apartment, not the campground you live in. Literally never, ever under any circumstance should you ever use your personal home address. If you have a mailbox on your door or on your street in front of your house, if you're not going to use a virtual mailbox address, at a bare minimum, go get a P.O. box in your town or a UPS box store in your town and go rip that mailbox down.
Just rip it off the door.
Just rip it off the door.
Don't even give them an option.
Do not even give them an option to deliver mail to your house. Don't even make it a possibility. Never, ever use it. You should never even have your actual address where you go to sleep at night on your driver's license. You should be using a virtual mailbox or some other type of address. Like I said, P.O. box wouldn't work there. Possibly a UPS store address would work or something like that, or a virtual mailbox address would work for that type of thing. But just for privacy, and same thing like you said, if you are nomadic and you're traveling around and you decide, I'm just going to use my dad's address for everything, then you are exposing him to potentially your liabilities and also maybe potentially some uncomfortable situations. Like if you end up getting sued for something and the process server shows up at your dad's house to get you served. You're getting letters from lawyers or something like that. That's not necessarily
red light tickets.
Yeah, red light tickets. Who pays those? That type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really want to expose your friends and family to those things either.
Yeah, definitely.
Much better to use a professional service, or if you don't want to use a virtual mailbox, a P.O. box or something like that. They're business. They could care less. They have no emotional connection to you whatsoever. You get served at your virtual mailbox address. We don't care. We see it every day anyway. Who cares?